All right, good evening, everybody. Here on the Tuesday Trump Train MAGA Meme Coin Spaces. If everyone could just confirm real quick that you can hear me. I just want to make sure that we're not starting off with any crazy issues or anything like that. I see Blockchain Basement saying yes, Stephen saying yes. Very good. All right, excellent. Welcome to the space, everybody. We're not going to have any intro music tonight to start us off, but that is okay. If I can ask everybody here, as Stephen Steele usually does, we'll be hearing from him in a second because I know there's going to be some really exciting news and exciting times. Lots of news, lots of stuff on the agenda for tonight. As Stephen always asks at the beginning of every space, let me see if I can say this right. It takes a split second of your time, doesn't cost you a dime. Please repost this space so that it can be spread across the exosphere. Did I do that right? Hopefully I did. I'll hear from him in a second. But spread the space around everywhere. Please repost it. Please share it with your friends. And let's get right into it because you know what I've been seeing? I've been seeing this community kind of start to throw its weight around a little bit, kind of telling everybody who's who, right? Who's been here since day one. If you remember a year ago, we had launched Spaces, 52 weeks, 53 weeks ago. And we've been out here every single Tuesday doing what we got to do. And obviously there's a number of elements to our approach, right? There's the first and foremost, you're a meme coin whole thing or a meme coin. The element of entertainment and different types of shareable content, memes, and we've seen many high-profile people in the Trump camp and Trump orbit share that mean tweets world peace meme, which is one of my favorites. I put that on Truth a lot. We put that up over here a lot. It's a good one that's certainly made the rounds all over the place. Right, so you have that, and it's a little different, but excuse me, than a dog wearing a hat or anything like that, right? This is serving a bit of a different purpose because now you find out we're talking about forming the MAGA movement on the blockchain, make America great again, in support of Donald Trump, in support of the president that we experienced just little over 4 years ago. When our country was prosperous, when we had a secure border, when we had safer streets, when we had a booming economy, we had lower inflation, we had a more friendly housing market, we had better interest rates, we had manufacturing jobs coming back to this country, we had more jobs, good paying jobs being created in this country. We had, at one point in time, one of the most healthy signs of a growing economy is that there were far more job openings than there were people looking for work. That's amazing, right? That is amazing because when the employee, right, becomes the hot commodity versus the job, that employee is going to what? That employee is going to be in higher demand from multiple companies. It's going to create competition. It's going to create higher wages. That's going to increase the standard of living in this country. It's going to help everybody. This country was prospering not that long ago. And then 2020 happened, and we can talk about what happened there or anything at that point in time. But you look at where we are now, you look at what we had versus what we have, and the last 3.5+ years have been a complete and total disaster. And that continued last night with the DNC, and we'll get into that in just a second. But MAGA Meme Coin was here, and we were talking about the early utilities of this token, serving as a means of expressing your confidence in Donald Trump's candidacy in the 2024 election. We've now started to see, sites like Polymarket and other, indicators kind of step in there and play a role in what we were really carving out ourselves just a year ago today. Giving back to homeless veterans, trying to help homeless veterans, NVHS. The amount of money that we've donated now north of, I believe, $2 million across all of our charity partners, to help find a home for homeless veterans. The government's not going to do it. Somebody has to. We decided let's fill that void, right? And we've heard from NVHS a number of times on our spaces, and they've told us that because of the donations and charitable contributions that this project has made, they've been able to expand their model from a local or regional model to a more national model. We're donating to help fight child trafficking. There's an epidemic on our border, 291,000 lost children. Where did they go? What do you mean they're lost? This isn't like, losing your keys or losing your debit card. You cancel it, you go get another. What do you mean there's 290,000 lost children? billion industry worldwide. And a lot of it is being facilitated on our border. We need to know who knows about it. What do they know about it? When did they know about it? And how are they profiting from not saying anything about it? And profits mean more than money, by the way. So giving back to help children who got ensnared in that brutal industry. But coming together as a community and kind of expanding. I mean, last Thursday night, I don't know about you guys. Did you guys, let me see in the chat, emojis, thumbs. Did you guys have fun last Thursday? Was that a good time? I've been getting feedback ever since then. Was that a good time? That Trump-Kamala debate? See a lot of people interacting and responding. That was a good time, I think. There's no crypto project, there's no meme coin project, literally, that has more fun than MAGA meme coin. Fact. And it's not just fun goofing off and then, coming back next week and talking BS. I mean, we're trying to get real world problems solved. We're talking policy here. We're motivating each other. We're coming up with new ideas, innovative ways to help the project. We're creating content, making people laugh. If you're not laughing, you're crying. Does anybody have more fun than MAGA meme coin? I don't think so. Nobody has more fun than we do. That's the best part, because last night kind of proves that we're going to have to be a little bit, we're going to have to be happy warriors. I'm not saying like Tim Walz where you start kicking your leg up in the air everywhere you go. I don't know what that's about, by the way. Some people say that it's you got a tampon stuck. Other people have other definite other reasons as to why I'm going to start calling him, we're going to call him Happy Feet, okay? It looks like Happy Feet. It looks like an emperor penguin. He's stomping around all over the place. Here she comes now.
Yeah, what'd I miss?
She's coming around the mountain. You see this? And by the mountain, we mean Willie Brown. She wants to know what she missed. She was probably drinking. She's got a severe drinking problem, a huge drinking. She says 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila, floor. That's what happens.
Donald, I got all your text messages, and I just want to let you know that the September 10th date is still happening, right? I don't know why you're spreading the rumor that I said that I wasn't going to come on September 4th. Who told you that?
Because we heard about it. You said it. Your people said it. You're not going to be debating on September 4th. That's disgusting. Because you're afraid. You're a coward like your running mate. You know that? You have a running mate, and he avoided deployment.
Tampon?
And he stole valid tampon. Yes.
When you
and the only thing he deployed.
Us tampon. You understand me? You call us tampon because that's what we're going by.
It's Campon. We like that, Campon. We need to be happy warriors is I think what our community can embrace. Yes, we do. And Esty is a good reason, a big addition to the team. Look, nobody does Kamala like that. And I always tell people, some people, did you ever see the Kamala? Some people still don't know. You ever see the Kamala girl? She does Kamala. She's great. I'm like, yeah, we've done content. Oh my gosh, really? No way. I mean, you'll never reach everybody, but that's okay. So everyone always asks me, and I'm going to ask you this. Everyone always asks me, is it hard to do Trump because, you're a Trump supporter, so you like him? I would imagine it's fun. For me, it's fun. But how do you put yourself in that mindset to sound like that woman?
It's hard, especially sometimes when me and you are going back and forth and you really get into you're saying things that I'm agreeing with. So I'm going against every instinct that I have. It's like, that instinct you get and you want to save your child. Imagine getting the instinct to kick your child in the head instead. That's how this whole thing feels. And, so I'm going against every natural instinct I have. But, I'm trying to twist it and turn it in a way. And it's gotten a lot of coverage in the past few weeks, which is great for MAGA meme coin. The debates are just everywhere, and I'm humble, but I really don't see anybody doing what we're doing, especially with the Kamala and the Trump, just back and forth. I really, some of the biggest names I've spoken to just in the past few weeks, and they're all telling me the same thing. We don't know anyone that's doing this on this level, and I think it's great, and I love being a part of it. But yeah, I want to, slit my wrists at the end of every day. That's how I feel.
Is that because you have to sound like Kamala, or do you actually have damaging information on Hillary Clinton? Is that why you're not feeling good?
It's not because I have to sound like her. Just this whole thing just kind of forces you to constantly consume content around them. So watching them willingly is not something that I like to do. It used to be that they came across my feed, I picked up my phone, I made a piece of content, and I went on my merry way. Now it's like I feel like my life is Campon and this entire campaign and these like bits of Tim Walz, and it seems like an episode of The Twilight Zone that I can't shake because she is so, oh my god, like she's just, like I said, like her energy just transfers from from the screen. She's so ingenuine, and you could see that they have these tricks up their sleeves, and I just hate it. I hate that I have to absorb it and I have to watch it. And watching the DNC, this is not something I would willingly do. And just watching that, what is up with, I'm gonna go off a tangent for a second. You guys are gonna get to know I probably have undiagnosed ADHD. What was up with that woman, that Senator Marjorie, the one with her tongue snaking out to her fucking chin every time she said a sentence? I don't understand how Twitter is not filled with people making fun of her today. This was like insanity from yesterday. It's like reptile people on the stage. But, just watching these people interact with one another, it's like a Twilight Zone thing. It's not something I willingly ever did. Like, I didn't use my time to ever watch it. I would just, let the highlights speak for themselves when it comes to that. Like, I'll watch the RNC. So now, yeah, I have to absorb a lot more content of theirs than I would like. It's part of the territory, I suppose. But just watching them makes me even more like angry sometimes. Like, these people can't win. This can't be happening. There's not, there's no way. There's no way this is even a thing. So we gotta be happy warriors. I'm happy you didn't say joyful, because if somebody else says joyful, I'll slip my Achilles heel and then my wrists.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because I posted a video earlier today of Trump's reception in Michigan. I said, this is what joy looks like. It doesn't look like a woman taking multiple, videos of her buying Doritos, right? I mean, like, what are we? I can't believe you, and this is something, you obviously are experiencing this because you have to study this person. Have you ever had to like watch somebody who is just so blatantly fake? Like, how do you, it's just, and I'm not saying like Donald Trump's not perfect, and I watch him and I sound like I get it, but like, she's so fake. I can't.
Did you see
that handle the Doritos thing?
Like, stint that she did with Waltz, where he's basically hammering down on the white people? And I know Megyn Kelly covered it in her show, but it really like pissed me off because first of all, this whole manufacturer thing, like, why aren't you guys doing press conferences? Why aren't you out there and debating each other going out there discussing policy and talking about what you're going to do? No, instead you got a nice expensive production to sit there and film you guys talk to each other, and she's all acting like, oh, how do you eat your tacos? And he's like, oh yeah, like, I'm a plain guy. Like, I'm, black pepper is my max in Minnesota, which, by the way, I discovered that that's a complete blatant lie. Shocking. He had entered some kind of like food contest, like he won an award like for the hottest dish at some point. So that right there is just, and that's something so small. I'm not like the left to sit there and nitpick over something like, oh, he said this recipe, all he does is eat black pepper and he lied. No, it's just the principle. If you lie about small things, you know what? That tells a lot about your character. That means you're a pathological liar and you're comfortable to lie about anything. And they're forcing this down their voter base's throat, this manufactured like presentation. And it pisses me off that they're putting down white people during this. She basically sat there and set him up to, how they'll make fun of like a Karen, but this is like on a higher level. And she's like trying to act all like, oh, like, oh, we're going to change that up. We're going to season you up. Like, shut up. Shut up. You're not even black. Just shut up. So obviously you can hear my irritation. I really despise that aspect of it, that this is the administration that we're up against, because come on, like they are walking frauds. That's how I feel about them. Like they're the kind of people that ask for a wheelchair for easy accessibility in the airport when they don't need one. That's the kind of people they are.
Oh, I don't disagree at all. And as detestable as their personalities are, I could look at their policies. When you look at a 25% unrealized gains tax, I'm at 44% capital gains tax, 28% corporate tax, we're coming up from 21%. These are things that when you institute these types of taxes on businesses in this country, you don't wind up in a good place. Under Kamala Harris, our corporate tax rate would be higher than China. We don't want to be higher than China. It's like, to me, I just look at this and I'm like, how could there be people behind it? How could there be enthusiasm? But I think what we're finally watching, and the DNC, I always thought, everyone's like, oh, she's going to get a bump at the convention. And well, that might mean two things or three things. But when you look at the DNC and what they're putting out on stage and the policy, the policy platforms, the talking points they have, it's just, to me, it's like I don't think this is going to help them because they can only go one direction. They're not going to come to the center. They're going to go radically left. That's what the people want to hear. That's what they're going to applaud.
Well,
Look at
thank God
AOC last night.
for people like Mr. Wonderful. You know that he's one of the guys, Kevin O'Leary, and he came out and he spoke directly on this. You know, because this is not something that he wants as a businessman. Those people always, you know, the billionaires especially, they're very much interested in who's going to win the election for these reasons alone. And he was talking about how these policies don't work. He spoke about every single country that adopted what she's trying to talk about when she talks about, you know, the price gouging policies that she's trying to introduce. And he's like, well, yeah, well, it doesn't work. It didn't work in North Korea, Venezuela, China, Russia. You know, it doesn't work. It's not formidable, and it creates a situation of famine. And this is all because she's radical. And I'm hoping that more of her policies are going to be brought more to the limelight. Like, yeah, they're unveiling their economic plan, but she's obviously not talking about it on a public. You know, like she's not doing the conferences and doing what she's supposed to do and campaigning correctly. It's almost like the campaign trail is fake because the election is rigged, and that's really my biggest fear here. I mean, we know that that's what they're going to try to do, but her confidence in all of this like bothers me because it's almost like she knows that they have it in the bag.
Yeah, I would say you see them talking about some of the most ridiculous things, knowing it's not actually going to hurt them in the end. And you can take that, you can definitely interpret that as
Yeah, because this
confidence,
doesn't look like panic
cockiness,
to me. It looks
swagger.
like they'll do whatever. You know, they put a special ed person on stage, giving them the mic, trying to look like they're
That was
appealing.
gross.
I don't understand. Like, you know, who's eating this up? It looks like they're just really catering to the mentally ill of these people. You know, the ones that are just hanging by every word that these people say. I just, you know, I don't understand it. So it makes me feel a lot of anger and resentment because I feel like the fix is in. So, you know, we have to do
Yeah.
it. Like primary elections matter. All these things matter, and people have to go out there and do stuff to get Trump's policies out.
Oh, we got to be too big to rig. We have to overwhelm the system. I'm going to go to High Res. He's got his hand up. And then as we circle through this segment of the conversation, we're going to go to Steven. He give us some updates on the project. Jackie, some updates on the market. And then we'll go from there. High Res, you got your hand up. I know you're jumping into space. You've been all over the place. You had a song running up the charts on iTunes a few weeks ago. What's going on?
What's up? What's up? Yeah, like Esty said, I don't know if she's been in here when I'm in here. I'm going to try to keep it quick because I also probably have undiagnosed ADHD. I could talk forever about nothing. So I'm going to keep it quick. I have a question, I guess, for both you guys. And it's kind of just a general open situation. I don't see any of this type of, like, obviously most of us are Trump supporters, we're conservative, we're libertarian, whatever it is, right? We want minimal government. But my question to both of you is, why doesn't any of this exist on the left? Why is there no comedy on the left? I understand the left can't meme, people say these things. Why isn't like there a Kamala Harris impersonator on the left? Why is all of anything that's funny and remotely comical on like considered conservative now? Can you guys both answer from your perspectives?
Because they're gay and trans over there.
What I'll say is this: is the left is very anti-joke because they're very anti-victim, unless the victim is a political opponent, and then they'll make jokes all day long. But they're focused on one thing and one thing only, and it's power. And if they're making fun of their own people and giving the right material, they're just not going to do it, right? So I think that they know that mockery, they're easily mockable, they're very insecure, so they don't want to open the door.
Yeah.
They're not going to do our work for them, or for us. And I think they understand that joking about themselves, the comedy and all of that, because there's a butt of every joke. They don't want to do that because it hurts their power.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll add to that. Sean hit it right on the money. I can tell you right now, there is a Kamala impressionist on the left. Me and her probably started at the same time. She's, I don't find her funny at all. Her name is Allison Reese, but recently Yahoo News, CNN, they're all pushing her out. And I'll even go as far as this much. The left is so quick to announce like Maya Rudolph is going to be doing the CNN, the SNL skit, and so many people have reached out to me and told me like, has SNL reached out to you? It's strange that they haven't yet. And I was told, like they're never going to. They're not going to pick someone that's going to make their side look weak, because their entire thing is, we can dish it, but we can't take it. They're not going to open that door. And, Maya Rudolph came out today and said, I don't know what this buzz is about, me being Kamala Harris on SNL. Nobody asked me. So I don't know where that's coming from. So that's funny that we're seeing that in their space, because they don't want to seem like they're insecure, but they sure as hell do not have the balls to open that door. And they haven't for years on SNL. They haven't made fun of their side, but they crucify Trump any which way they can. Kathy Lee Gifford even went as far as to hold up a bloody head. They went all the way as far as tasteless. They kind of still chuckle and laugh about the assassination attempt. These are narcissists, and they won't see it the same way. If I give you and tell you like the kinds of things that I've been told, like you're a racist, you're this, how dare you make fun of a black woman, you don't have the right. And I tell all of them, like, shut the F up. Are you out of your goddamn minds? Like, who the hell told you that you're even in charge of the comedy space? But that's their entire demeanor. Like, what are you doing? And they block me. So it's funny to me because it's like, oh, so you can't even handle it. You have to remove it from your vision. So they like to create that echo chamber of themselves because they're also Star Spangled Awesome, except they're not patriotic. And that's what they do. So they're not going to enter this realm of ballsiness because they snipped all their balls at the DNC last night.
That's it. I think they all got those free vasectomies across the street, which is crazy.
Like,
there's always got to be like a sideshow.
How is that even real life? I told my 11-year-old, I told him about this.
There's always got to be like a sideshow.
Yeah, this is insanity. He's like, what? He's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, yeah, this is the thing. And he's like, but why? Why would that appeal to somebody? And I'm like, well, I'm glad that your brain at 11 years old can see the ridiculousness of it. That means I'm doing something right. But it's insane. I don't know.
Very good. It is wild to see. And I don't remember any infanticide or, for that matter, any riots breaking out across from the RNC in Milwaukee. Stephen Steele was there. He was on the ground doing some guerrilla marketing with the Trump fans for Trump fans down there in Milwaukee and Wisconsin. And I don't remember him getting involved in any riots. But, the biggest piece of news, I think that, and I guess, maybe Stephen will expound on it after we talk about some project-related stuff, is this RFK news. RFK, Nicole Shanahan, his running mate, expressing potential interest in maybe joining the Trump campaign. And I asked a question on X, and I asked a question on my show. Would you be okay with RFK getting a position in the next Trump administration if it had to do with cutting the bureaucracy, reining in big pharma, or handling crypto-related issues, and Donald Trump gets RFK's endorsement and his active help in the 2024 campaign trail? The pros of that would be you're getting a significant, even if it's 2% or 3% in the polls, that's a huge number right now in a tight race. RFK's following is very loyal. They're very loyal to him. And if he makes a heartfelt statement to unify and come together with Donald Trump to prevent a communist presidency from taking hold, I think you will see a lot of those RFK voters vote for Donald Trump, even if they have to walk into the voting booth with a hazmat suit on. I think they're going to do it. Now, I don't trust him 100% of the way. I don't love the way he talks about the Second Amendment. I don't love the way he talks about abortion. I'm not into his climate takes. But I do think he's got good things to say when it comes to big pharma. I do think he's got good things to say with freedom of speech. Obviously, the deep state and what the deep state's done to his family, and crypto. He's pretty pro crypto. So I think there are pros and cons. I don't want to let Democrats too close to the circle, but is he a Democrat or is he a disillusioned Democrat? Is he somebody who is eating red pills every single day? I don't know. My question was, would you be okay with RFK getting that position if it didn't have to do with the issues that he leaned very left on, and he was able to campaign for Donald Trump and actively endorse and actively campaign for Donald Trump to help our electoral chances? Because as far as I'm concerned, that partnership, while it is risky, comes with less risks than trying to win over that 2, 3, or 4% of voters who are voting for him and potentially allowing Kamala Harris to win. So we could all chew on that question a little bit later, but I do want to pass this on to Stephen Steele. Stephen, who obviously will have some updates on the project for us. So without further ado, let's give it to the real deal, Stephen Steele.
What's going on, everyone? Well, what a week, and what an awesome first debate that we had last Thursday night. My inbox was just absolutely continuously blowing up with compliments and people wondering if there's going to be another one. And I think we're up to over 40,000 listeners on that space now, and hundreds of thousands of impressions of people that maybe listen to little snippets of it. But 40,000 long-term listeners on that space, and it keeps going. And people are asking, is there going to be a second MAGA meme coin debate? There is, and the date will be announced soon, but it's going to be happening in September, the second debut MAGA meme coin debate is going down between Sean and Esty in September. So we will be releasing that date soon, along with the respective promos and everything else that are going to go along with it. But we are actively and aggressively shaping that up as we speak. Also, something else, too, I thought was kind of notable in lieu of recent events. I actually went to see Jimmy Dore and his crew live in Chicago just a few nights ago, last week. And I was in line with a woman. Well, two things happened. One woman recognized me through X, and that was kind of funny. And then another woman, an old school kind of progressive lady, she said, or I should just say an older progressive lady. She said, I was talking to my friend that I was at Jimmy Dore with about being at the RNC convention. She's like, "Oh my God, you were at the RNC convention? What was it? Oh my God, how was it?" I'm like, "It was fine. It was actually really chill. Most everybody there was pretty friendly and just pretty relaxed. It was everyone was just pretty happy and polite and relaxed, except for a couple of protesters. It was fine. And she couldn't comprehend that, you know. And it just goes to show the boogeyman that the media has built up in so many of the minds of the left in regards to not only Donald Trump but the Republican Party. And by the way, I'm not a huge fan of the Republican Party. I'm just a huge fan of Trump. But it's just so funny because now we are seeing that up against what's been going on in with the DNC convention, which is a huge stark contrast in tonality, behavior, and everything else. I would say I do have a certain degree of empathy for some of these protesters. I will say no matter which side you come down on Israeli Palestinian conflicts, both of those territories were much, much safer under a Trump presidency. And there was just much more peace throughout the world under Trump's tenure. So we're looking forward to getting that back. In other news, Polymarket. This is huge. Trump regains the lead. It seems that the Kamala phenomenon, whatever people were saying before, is starting to crash. So this is pretty interesting because seeing Trump start to seize and gain back leads, not only nationally in the Polymarket polling, but also in swing states as well. We just saw another one come out just a couple hours ago. Trump taking a pretty nice lead back in Pennsylvania as well on the Polymarket. So this is pretty interesting because this is where there's supposed to be like the big bounce and all the hype and attention. So we're seeing Trump pull ahead in several very key notable polls simultaneously while the DNC convention is going on, where the attention and the polling should anyway traditionally apex in the Democrats' favor, but that's not happening. So that's pretty encouraging. Elon Musk also issued a Harris versus Trump poll, and Trump is leading decidedly in that. Well, that should come as no surprise, but I thought it was interesting that he put that poll out there for everyone. I didn't expect him to follow through with that, despite the many requests. But Trump leading almost 80% now on that poll, so that was pretty cool. Other things the team has been working on. I kind of have an agreement that I can only say so much. Well, I'll put it that way. I kind of contractually under an obligation to be able to say so much at this time. But some people that are blockchain detectives, so to speak, have been kind of putting pieces together. That much I can say for some of the things we've been working on. And so those folks who have been pretty astute in that regard understand that there is some really solid reasons to be incredibly bullish about this project, where it's going and what we've been working on. People that pay attention understand this. And this is another thing I want holders of this project to understand. There are many people that trade solely on the tickers and they don't keep up to date on the ongoings of particular projects. Yes, even blue chip meme projects. So that is something really important to take into account, because sometimes people that are more active in the community are like, how can the price action just be going sideways with these amazing things happen? Is because a lot of these investors, they just buy the tickers and they forget about their holdings, or they sell without knowing the ongoings. Well, the more informed a trader is in respect to particularly a long-term project, the more of an advantage that they have, because they are paying attention to those developments, right? It was the same thing with Dogecoin. There were so many developments going behind the scenes, and all of a sudden, the day Dogecoin went live on Robinhood, for example, people that were paying attention aped like crazy right into Dogecoin. And then we saw what happened after Doge had already been a bit more established on Robinhood. It just went absolutely wild, and many millionaires were made because people that were paying attention understood the significance of the development on a project like Dogecoin. I still continue to see parallels with Mega Meme Coin. Yes, with even something like Dogecoin or Pepe, etc. And I think the tail of our chart since the inception of the project really does draw a lot of parallels there. Another thing I want to say quickly before we bounce to Wayne, our good friend Wayne, who just dropped in, is this: you're going to continue to see. Well, first of all, there's been so many copycats of this project, so many cheap knockoffs and derivatives. I know that's pretty common, and anytime you get a successful kind of blue chip meme coin project like this one, but this one is really seen even an exceptional amount, particularly now that we're getting closer to the final stretches of election season. And look, folks, we've been here for over a year. We are the largest holding in Donald Trump's actual crypto wallet. We've donated about $2 million and counting to veterans and fighting child trafficking. Even though there's been countless copycats, we are the OG. We are the first mover. We are the original. We're a 100% American-based team. And I would dare say at least 95% of all these derivatives and copycats cannot say that. They cannot say that. And as the election draws closer, you're going to see countless more overseas scammers that are going to continue to launch Trump-themed projects that are only going to rug its investors. So Mega Meme Coin, I say that to you because Mega Meme Coin is by far, the most credible, the most transparent, the most based Trump-themed cryptocurrency in the industry. It's not even close. It's not even close. And I say that because now it's time to ditch those zeros and get with the heroes. Rally around a true hero in this space, a rare hero in this space, that is Mega Meme Coin. Those of you who are familiar with the space know who GCR is, for example. He's a whale of Mega Meme Coin. Guess how many Mega Meme Coins he sold? 0. He is one of the most successful traders in the industry. Do the math on that. Do the math on that. So those that have faded this project early, you think you know better than GCR? You think you know better than what the team's been developing all this time? Really? Really? Okay. So whether you're into Trump and support crypto, if you're into Trump and you support crypto, then join us. Join us. Because what we're doing, we are changing the industry for the better. So support something that means something, is what I'm saying. And even if you have zero experience with crypto, we've got super easy to understand, user-friendly tutorials, thanks to Jackie. And any one of us in this community, and we have an awesome community, would be happy to help you. We'll be happy to help you. So with that, I would like to hand the microphone over to another one of our awesome partners on the team, none other than the absolute legend himself, Wayne Allyn Root. How you doing, Wayne?
I'm doing great. How are you tonight?
Fantastic. It's so awesome to have you. and I've been keeping up with your articles lately, and as well as your show. And it's just been phenomenal. And look, guys, Wayne has a direct line to President Trump, and I think it's fair. I mean, Wayne may not tell you himself, but you do see many times, I think it's more than coincidence, where Wayne will bring up certain policy proposals or emphases on certain things that end up playing out in the Trump campaign. Anyway, Wayne, I don't want to occupy any more of your mic time. Love to hear what you've been up to, your thoughts on the convention and everything else going on in the election news cycle.
Sure, and I'll let you in on a conversation I haven't had yet, but I'm about to have with President Trump. But I sent to you just, I think yesterday, I sent you Trump's voicemail to me. He called me last last Tuesday night, and I was driving to dinner, and I saw no caller ID, so I didn't answer the phone, and then I hear a message, and it's Donald Trump saying it's your favorite president calling. Come on, Wayne, where are you? Call me back. So we've been trading calls for a week now, but hopefully I'll speak to him the next day or two. Listen, I was the guy who invented the idea for no tax for seniors on Social Security. That's my idea. Has been for several years, and I've written about it and pushed President Trump on that topic for many, many months now, and actually made it my number one story on my America's Top 10 Countdown show on Real America's Voice about a month ago or maybe 3 weeks ago. It was whenever Trump announced it. It was literally 3 days before he announced it. I think he announced it on a Monday. On that Saturday, it was my number one story. I said, I've never in 2 years on this TV show ever given anything but a news story as the number one story of the week. But I'm going to give you my idea: no tax on Social Security for senior citizens. And then I sent that to President Trump's office, and they assured me they'd hand it to him and he'd watch it. And sure enough, 24 or 48 hours later, he was announcing no tax on Social Security for seniors. So that's my baby, and I'm about to write a column, and I'm about to tell him, and that's what I've been waiting to speak to him about, that I think there's four things that can build a coalition. Okay, no tax on tips is brilliant, and there are 12 million service employees in America, so that's a big one. No tax on Social Security. There are about 64 million people over the age of 65 in America. That's a huge one. And I think he should add to this triumvirate. He should add a third one: no tax on overtime. And what I mean by that is no tax on people who work overtime. If you work 40 hours, you pay your taxes and you get your salary. But if they ask you to work overtime, then you should pay no taxes on overtime. And he will win over every worker in America. And more importantly, it's good for America that everybody will suddenly want to work overtime. Every restaurant employee, every corporate employee, everybody will be dying to work overtime if they get time and a half or double time and no taxes on it. It'll make us a nation of such productivity, and he will be beloved by all the people that work overtime hours. So that's unlimited. That's probably like 80 million workers in America that will love that one. And then I want to combine it with a fourth one: a $2,000 a year tax credit for military service. And there's 16 million retired military vets in the United States. And it would be just like the child tax credit for parents. There's a $2,000 child tax credit for you having kids, because that's good for America to have kids and raise families. Well, it's even better for America if you were willing to join the military and you're a veteran and you risked your life for your country. $2,000 a year, just like the child tax credit, I think would be fantastic. So now you're combining this coalition of service employees and workers who work overtime and seniors on Social Security and military veterans, and you add it up, and it's a lot of people. It's 12 million plus 16 million is 28, plus no tax on tips is 12. 16 plus 64 million seniors. Now you're talking 92 million, and whatever the number of workers is, I got to go look it up, but I think there's like 80 million workers in America. So you're talking about a coalition of 160 million plus people. So I'm going to try and sell President Trump on that really hard, because I think that's a winning coalition. Let me talk about some stories that were in the news on my show today. I think you'll enjoy hearing about. I've argued for many, many months now that Democrats are not just communists, and not just radical, and not just America haters, and not just Jew haters and Israel haters, but they are crazy control freaks, like the old Soviet Union or like the Chinese Communist Republic. They want to have control over our lives, and if they ever get in again, now that it's Kamala and Tim Walz, if they ever get in, there's going to be lockdowns for pandemics. There's going to be lockdowns for climate change. We could be locked down for years, and they're going to force poisonous vaccines on us, despite the fact that I have hundreds of studies that prove that the COVID vaccine is dangerous and deadly and reckless and never should have been put out. And there are so many injuries and at least 17 million deaths worldwide directly from the COVID vaccine. So what news comes out today that proves me right that if these people are elected, they're madmen, they will force vaccinate all of us, or you won't be able to walk into a grocery store. Kamala Harris imposes new COVID-19 vaccine mandate for all campaign employees. I mean, just absorb that for a minute. Think about that. This is all these years after COVID. COVID was 2020. We're about to be 2025. COVID was almost 6 years ago. And nobody needs a vaccine. No one needed a vaccine then. Studies now prove they shouldn't have taken them then. But certainly everyone knows no one needs a COVID vaccine now, and nobody wants it. Obviously, the numbers taking it are like 3% of the population because they all know someone who died after they got the COVID vaccine. She's mandating every up-to-date COVID vaccine. So if at this point you probably need like 6 vaccines, 2 original shots, and 4 boosters at this point. She's saying every employee that works for her will be fired. They will not retain them if they do not show proof they got every vaccine. This is the insanity of the left. That's Exhibit A at its finest. Wow, that is scary. So nobody can debate with me that she will do that to all of us. She's doing it to her own campaign workers in the year almost 2025. There's no need for a COVID vaccine. Why doesn't anyone have freedom of choice? The party that believes in your body, your choice, abortion to the last minute, doesn't believe I have a choice whether I want an experimental, dangerous, deadly vaccine poison in my body? Oh my God. So that's story number one. Story number two is I don't know how many of you heard this, but Robert F. Kennedy Jr., at least his VP, Nicole Shanahan, says they are seriously considering dropping out and endorsing Trump for president. That would be great news. In every poll, he's dropped now from 15, 20% to only like 4 or 5%. But if he could endorse Trump as a lifelong Democrat and drop out of the presidential race with the Kennedy name and say, I'm behind Donald Trump and I'm going to serve in his administration, I'm telling you that, that 5% goes to Trump, and that changes the entire complexity of the election, complexion of the election. It's amazing. So I think that's good news. And just, toot my own horn a little bit. I wrote a column probably a year ago, and I said, President Trump, never make Robert F. Kennedy your vice president. A lot of people were suggesting that a year ago. And I said, no, but offer him that he can be the special counselor. He's an attorney. Let him be the special counselor investigation to oversight of big pharma and the vaccines. He would love that. Give him that role. That's the only thing I like him for. He's like an old Kennedy liberal on every other issue, but he's great on vaccines. Let him go attack big pharma and the vaccines and prove to the world that they're deadly. And maybe that's just what Trump's doing now. So that'd be great. And they also said, if we don't join forces with Trump, we're afraid we run the risk of enabling a Harris-Walz presidency. What a powerful statement from the Kennedy Group. Wow. Elon Musk says he's ready to serve in a Trump cabinet role. I think that's very exciting. And then last but not least, I've been arguing for 3 weeks now that Kamala Harris is the single most unlikable, incompetent, unpopular, radical communist in history. No way is she beating Trump in polls. They're all polls that oversample Democrats by as many as 10 points. So if the real poll numbers should be Democrats +1 or Republicans +1 in the electorate, they're polling an electorate that's Democrats +8, +9, +10. If I polled an entire group that was, all Wayne Root's relatives, of course I'd be in the lead. So all those polls were total BS. But now, interestingly, those same polls that are oversampling Democrats, there are like 6 of them that have come out in the last 48 hours that show Trump leading. So even though they're oversampling Democrats and they showed Kamala was up by 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, now they're showing Trump up by 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. And I think that's great news. It just shows you Kamala's honeymoon is over, even in the middle of the DNC, very bad numbers. And my gut instincts were the following. I'm not a pollster, and I don't claim to be a pollster, but I think I have good common sense and gut instincts. And every poll that I've seen tells me that Trump has doubled his support with black people. He's dramatically up with Latinos. He's dramatically up with young people. I think he's going to be dramatically up with Jewish voters based on the Jew hatred of the Democrat Party. How could you be doing so much better with all those groups and be losing to Kamala when last time around you got half the votes of Latinos that you're getting now, half the votes of blacks you're getting now, half the votes of young people you're getting now, and you still really beat Joe Biden? It came down to 60,000 votes in 6 battleground states, or you would have beaten him in an electoral landslide. So, I mean, how could he be down when he's doing so much better with all those groups? And YouGov comes out, and YouGov says today that key demographics show significant gains for Trump in the upcoming election. And they're talking about young people, Hispanics, and blacks. How could you be doing significantly better with all those groups, and yet now you're not beating Kamala Harris? It makes no sense. And then finally, the founder of the Maine Outside Spending Group backing Kamala Harris for president says their own internal opinion polling is much less rosy than the public polls and warns Democrats they face much closer races in key states. So even they admit that the public polls are oversampling Democrats and way too rosy. And I think it's very clear that she has a very tough electoral path to the presidency, and Trump has a great and clear path to the presidency. So I feel like the news is all good, even in the middle of the week of the Democrat convention. I think it's much better news than we've had for the last 3 weeks. So all good stuff. I got a new column out. Let me know if you want me to talk about that at all, or if you've had enough of me. I'm good with that too. Let me know what you want.
Thank you, Lee. Yeah, briefly extrapolate on your latest column. I just finished reading it before hopping on here. It's great.
Yeah, just look. If you listened to Biden last night, everything was a lie. Everything. And look, I'm a sales expert. You know, there's not a lot of things in life I do well, but I will claim that I'm as good and I have an understanding of sales as anybody in the world because I've been in sales my whole adult life. Always a TV sales pitchman, and I've sold close to $1 billion on television of my own products. And I'm a pretty good salesman of myself as well because, you know, I'm 63 years old now, and I've got 3 TV shows on Real America's Voice TV and on Frank Speech TV. And when I was 26, I got my first show as a host of 6 sports shows on CNBC. So, I mean, I've been almost 40 years on television. There's really nobody out there besides Dick Clark who's ever spent 5 decades on television besides me. So I must be a damn good salesman, and my product is me. And the reason I don't have to lie is because I have a good product. But if you're a salesman and you don't have a good product, then you have to lie. And so the Democrats have a terrible product. And their biggest problem is inflation. And they keep lying about it. But it's the one thing you can't lie about because most people maybe don't know that the border is open and things are horrible and millions are coming in because they don't see it. And they don't know what happened in Afghanistan, the worst retreat in America's history, because they couldn't see it with their own eyes. Maybe they don't understand all the failures of the Biden administration. But the one thing that everybody can see is inflation because they buy things every day. Everybody sees that inflation is terrible. So I think that Trump's entire campaign, like 90% of it, maybe 10% should be about the open border and all the people being killed, the women and children being murdered by illegal aliens. But other than that, 90% of what he does between now and November 5th should be about inflation because that's Look, my issue is the open border. It's the destruction of America. It's the intentional destruction of our country. It's how Democrats will make this into a one-party country. But that it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the average American thinks. And the only thing that they care about is their pocketbook. And the only thing they know for sure is that steak costs too much and chicken costs too much and going out to eat costs too much and fast food restaurants are even unaffordable now and their insurance bills are out of control and their electric bills are out of control and the gas they put in their car has doubled since Trump became president, with Biden. So they know all that. So every ad he takes on TV, day in and day out, should be about inflation. And I gave him, some tips. I think he should go to a grocery store and Donald Trump should walk through a supermarket and lift up tomatoes and lift up meat and lift up ice cream. And whatever he lifts up, put on the screen what it costs under him and what it costs now. And let Trump talk about pocketbook issues with the American people. They can't hide from that. He should do another ad at a gas station and be pumping his own gas in the ad. And then people should walk up to him and say, "Oh my God, it was so great when you were president. Look at the price now." And he quotes on the screen, it was $2 when I was president. Now it's almost $5 a gallon. I think he should be in a doctor's office and he should quote the price of health insurance and the price of medical bills then and now. They're out of control. And last but not least, he should go inside Americans' homes, a typical American home, maybe in the Midwest, maybe in, Peoria, Illinois, and sit with someone and run a TV ad where they talk about how their electric bill has tripled under Joe Biden and show the bill. Show their bill from 4 years ago. My electric bill was $90 and today it's $370. If he does that, he wins this election going away. It'll be a Reagan Mondale like landslide. It'll be a Nixon McGovern landslide. It'll be a Reagan Carter landslide. He's just got to make sure he hammers home day and night that he's the president where there was no inflation. And now they're lying to you. It's terrible since they took power. And look at the prices. Here's the proof. If he does that, he wins.
Wayne, I had another question for you because you mentioned your sales background, and I have a sales background too, and I've talked a bunch about this. Last night they mentioned Donald Trump's name 147 times at the DNC, and it seems like they're spending so much more time telling Americans what they aren't, saying, "Hey, we're not Trump," versus telling Americans what they are. In my experience selling products, and I would never, ever, ever focus my pitch just on the competition. I'm aware of my competition. I'm aware of how I'm better than my competition, but I did not spend the better portion of my pitch telling my prospect that, you should buy my product because I'm not them, right? Do you think that this is effective or not effective? And how long can they continue, campaigning this way until Americans start going, well, okay, I get you're not Trump. I mean, you don't look like him, you don't sound like him, but what are you?
Yeah, no, I agree with you 110%. I mean, listen, think about what I just said moments ago that I'm going to tell Trump that he should be pitching, no tax on Social Security, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and a tax credit just for military service. Well, all of those are things that you are doing to make everyone's life better. Not talking about Kamala Harris or Joe Biden, talking about what you would do to make people's life better. And then when I talk about the inflation, I'm talking about going in a supermarket and going in a doctor's office and showing the difference between how great life was 4 years ago under my administration versus how terrible it is now. Again, that's not really attacking them. It's just stating facts. To me, he's got to stop. He's got to stop. I know they are nuts and they should not be attacking Trump all day. It's a mistake. But he is also guilty of the same thing. He's got to stop with the crowd size. He's got to stop with the color of Kamala's skin. Who cares? Nobody cares. The only job now is he's won over, 90 million Americans, but or maybe 80 to 90 million Americans. But to win the election, he needs like another 5 million. And those are people that are very independent. They don't love him the way you and I do. They don't understand him and his policies the way you and I do. Maybe they remember 4 years ago as positively as you and I do. And they fester on his tweets and the things he says. And if he wants to win them over, he's just got to stop with the crowd size and Kamala's race and how dumb Kamala is. Look, I think she's a moron. I think she's the lowest IQ candidate in history. But you don't say that when you're the one running. I could say it on TV. I'm an entertainer. Leave it to me to say it. Don't let him say it. He just needs to stick with how great it was 4 years ago. And are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? No. And here's what inflation looked like 4 years ago. Here's what it looks like now. And then here's what I'm going to do for you. If he does that, he wins the election. If he keeps talking about her crowd size, he's not going to win the election. That's all the extraneous, bullshit, excuse the language, and just stick to policy and inflation, inflation, inflation.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your insights, Wayne. They're always appreciated. And you're on fire, man. You're on fire. And one of the reasons, many reasons why we love having you on the MAGA meme coin team. And boy, oh boy, if to toot our own horn, I think we've assembled the A team, the X-Men of the meme coin space with the quality individuals that we have involved here. Thank you so much, Wayne. Really, really appreciated, man.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on. And, I'm available any Tuesday and every Tuesday. So thank you.
Right on. And guys, make sure you're following Wayne as well as his respective TV shows where he talks about MAGA meme coin as well. So thanks again, Wayne. Speaking of Dream Team members, it is none other than the real deal himself, political firebrand and icon / legend, none other than Mr. Roger Stone. How are you, sir?
Excellent and great to be with you. Watching this, I had a hard time tearing myself away from the Democrat National Convention, which seems to me to be an orgy of hate, divisiveness, and attacks on the greatest president in my lifetime, Donald Trump. But I think, honestly, it's time to take a step back because I know that there are some in the MAGA world, some among our supporters who are buying into what I think is a gigantic psyop. In other words, they inflate the polls by oversampling Democrats to manufacture this fake surge by Kamala Harris. They insist in the mainstream media that Governor Tim Walz is not guilty of stolen valor when it is indisputably proven again and again. Kamala Harris pretends like she was never part of the Biden administration. She's not responsible for the current inflation rate, or even worse, the mass invasion of this country by 20 million illegals or more. This is a hoax on the American people. But for those who are concerned about the Trump campaign, I have reviewed the fundamentals over and over and over again. I think that we are better positioned than we were in 2016, better positioned than we were in 2020. No, for those who say that we didn't anticipate Joe Biden being tossed aside like a dog, this was completely anticipated. All of the basic research on Kamala Harris's record has been done. Various themes to expose her record as favoring defunding the police, favoring the decriminalization of an illegal border crossing, favoring a proposal to have American taxpayers foot the bill for the health care of 20 plus illegals. These are all things that the American people need to hear and will hear. So, right now, even as we speak, there's a hard hitting commercial on in every swing state at, I think, really significant levels of buy, exposing the fact that, well, guess what? Kamala Harris was Joe Biden's vice president. I'm not the slightest bit discouraged, nor am I pessimistic. I believe that I agree with my good friend Wayne when he says the key to this is to contrast the ticket of Kamala Harris and wacky Tim Walz. So that guy's wacky. That's the word. Wacky. Strange. Mincing around the stage like a lunatic on some kind of sugar high. Hard to figure out. Once you compare the epic record of Donald Trump and his 4 years in the presidency, the most robust economy in our history, real economic growth, real wage growth, real job growth, lowest rates of inflation in recent years, with the catastrophic chaos of the Biden Harris years. That is absolutely the key to victory. The other thing I noticed today is the claim by the Harris campaign that they have now topped $400 million. Well, yes, $400 million in largely money laundered fake contributions, laundered through Act Blue. This is one of the great frauds of all time. You can trace these individual donors. So far, I believe we have documented as many as 60,000 quote unquote donors who don't really exist or who gave once, but now someone has given in their name repeatedly. It's part of the same psyop to convince us that Kamala Harris is popular, she's surging, people love her, that Donald Trump is somehow fallen behind. These are all uh, manufactured. This is a fabrication, but the fabrication is coming to an end, in my opinion. And you've seen that odds. Wayne can tell you more about that than anybody I know. But you also see it in polling that's reliable, polling where you have a valid sample, where you don't have rigged questions, where the order of the questions is methodologically solid. And when you start to look at those polls, you realize that this race today is about in the same place the race was against Joe Biden. By that, I mean, this was always going to be a tough, difficult, competitive race. Why? I'll tell you why. Because the mainstream media is still dominant in America. They're no longer monolithic as they used to be, but they still have a huge voice. And secondarily, let's be candid, Democrats cheat. The way they bludgeoned Joe Biden out of this race is disgraceful. The way they shuffled him off, made sure that he didn't appear in prime time so that no one would see him last night, and then got him out of town as quickly as they possibly could. It really is disgraceful. Can anyone on the call tell me how many Democrat primary or caucus voters voted to nominate Kamala Harris for president? Oh, wait a minute. I know the answer. It's zero. This was a coup, and it will not, in the end, succeed. I think the American people are onto it. Very interesting to see today a Rasmussen poll, which showed that almost 2/3 of independents are concerned about the way Kamala Harris got promoted into this race. That's a very significant finding. So overall, I'm still an optimist. I also have no illusions. This was never going to be a cakewalk. It was never going to be a landslide. It was never going to be easy. But I can just tell you, Trump's head is in a very good place. He is more determined. He is more persistent. He is more confident than ever before. And this idea that his campaign is shook or they weren't expecting any of this, I can just tell you categorically that is false. I think we're still on course to win a very tough, tight race. But if you look at these swing states and you look at polling that I respect, I still think we're in an excellent position.
Fantastic, Roger. Thank you for chiming in with your insights. And that's very interesting. I noticed both you and Wayne uh, think that the general polling that has happened so far in this race has been doctored or skewed to a certain degree. Do you think that's due to now? Wayne seems to think that's due to these polling agencies probably purposely pulling Democrat heavy areas or whatnot. But what have been your general thoughts on the general election polling thus far since Kamala seized the role?
I think it's very important to recognize that polling is very easily skewed in a number of ways. First, of course, there is the basic sample. If the sample is not really representative of a subsample of the American voters, if you have too many Democrats, for example, and not enough Republicans in the sample, that's one way to jigger a poll. The other way is the way you word the questions. You can word the questions in a biased way that will give you a desired result. Then, thirdly, there's the order of the questions, meaning if you introduce some negative piece of information first and then do the ballot test second, well, you're going to taint the ballot uh, in that what's called order bias. It's very common. Also recognize that every poll, is a snapshot in time. It is only valid for the episecond in which it is tabulated. And by the time it's published, it's already outdated because we have a very volatile electorate and events are moving very, very quickly. And speaking of events, I think it is key to recognize that we have some high ticket events yet here in this race that still may have, I think almost certainly will have, a profound effect on the outcome. I think we will finally get Kamala Harris, who clearly cannot string together a sentence without a teleprompter, into two debates. And Donald Trump is a championship debater. He's a proven, brutal, focused debater. For those who say, oh, he's lost his mojo, watch that debate with Joe Biden. He was disciplined. He didn't take the bait. He pounded Biden on the economy and the border. Uh, my money remains on Donald Trump. But these polls, I think, have been perfectly manipulated, along with the mainstream media narrative, trying to convince us that Kamala Harris is beloved or that she's a historic figure. The one concern I continue to have, I'll be very blunt about this, is that somehow Biden does not finish this term. Were he to be removed under the 25th Amendment, and don't think that Barack Obama won't do that if he thinks that's what is necessary to win this election, or God forbid, I don't wish this on him, but were he to die in his sleep, or would he be taken out the way JFK was, the way they tried to take Ronald Reagan out? Let's face it, the way they tried to take Donald Trump out only weeks ago, just so they could elevate Kamala Harris and give her the status of being the first woman president in an effort to enhance her chances. This is something that I fear, something that I pray against every day. The people we're dealing with here are certainly capable of such skullduggery. It disturbs me that we learn only in the last 72 hours more about Thomas Matthew Crooks, the man that they accused of trying to kill President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. We know a couple things. One, that the Secret Service was well aware of uh, that he was on the site and he was armed for 92 minutes, yet they never warned President Trump and they let him take the stage. Now we learn that the FBI and the Secret Service and the state police and the local police were not all on the same radio frequency, meaning that when local police saw the man they claimed to be Crooks on the roof with a gun, we don't know that the FBI or the Secret Service ever heard those reports. Deeply disturbing. Now we see that there's actually an image, which anyone can go online and see, of Crooks talking on a cell phone just before the shooting. I have an obvious question. Who was he talking to? And why don't we know who he was talking to? Did he have Confederates? Or are we supposed to believe, like they told us about Lee Harvey Oswald, that he acted alone? And then, of course, is the question of how he can be seen openly walking within the perimeter carrying a gun. I've seen this myself, and he wasn't stopped. The more we look at this, and when we hear that his body was cremated without notice to the family or to any of the agencies of government who were supposed to be investigating this crime, this adds up to more questions than we have answers. And it's why I believe my apprehension about Joe Biden finishing his term is not a conspiracy theory. It's a legitimate concern.
Thank you for that, Roger. A final question I had for you. There's been a lot of speculation recently that Kamala Harris has been taken to the campaign trail under the influence of alcohol. It's seeming various states of inebriation. Some are speculating that's just her speaking style. Do you have any thoughts on that matter?
Well, it certainly appears strange, but then everything about her seems strange. So she sometimes talks and appears to be incomprehensible, but that's not necessarily because she's under the influence. So I don't have any hard proof that she's either drunk or high, but anything is possible. What is clear is she's completely devoid of substance. Her answer to the high prices that are plaguing American consumers are wage and price controls. Let me be candid. President Nixon tried that. It was perhaps his second biggest mistake. His largest mistake would be taking us off the gold standard. Governor John Connally, then Treasury Secretary, convinced Nixon to enact wage and price controls. And my friend Wayne Allen Root can tell you they were an unmitigated disaster. They do not work. But that is her prescription for America. Now add to it the bold boast the other day that she can just seize your company if she wants. She can just seize your assets or your patents if she wants. That is full blown authoritarian communism. I don't think the American people will buy it anytime soon. So I remain bullish. I remain bullish both on Trump's prospects. I remain bullish certainly on MAGA meme coin, which I'm a proud partner, and I'm proud to be part of this movement and this great space tonight. Also, a special shout out to my friend at Ramble Rants, who really turned out an amazing video today, which I thought I looked really great.
Fantastic, Roger. Well, we know you're a busy man. I hugely appreciate your time with us this evening and for giving your insights. And we are just so pleased to have you a part of the MAGA Meme Coin team. I know the community here as well. And it's always great to have you in the space.
Well, the key message I guess I want to impart to every supporter of the president and everybody on the call is keep the faith. Don't let the mainstream media shake you. Don't let them sell you this false narrative that Kamala Harris is somehow surging, that Kamala Harris is somehow popular or beloved. Bill Clinton is going to speak tonight. I can't wait to see that. I don't think any of his victims of sexual assault will be available in the hall. But this is going to be very interesting. I frankly, it's hard not to watch their convention. It is such an extraordinary clown show. Thanks for having me tonight, and God bless you all.
Roger, just one thing, before you throw insults and run away. I got your message, and I'll see you on your show. There's some things I wanna squash.
I love you. You are so good.
She does a tremendous job.
Nobody
I can tell you
told
that.
to
She does a
speak or
tremendous
invited me.
job.
The second I come out,
She
you
does
always
a
have to come
tremendous.
out.
What an incredible person.
I can't help it.
What
can you,
what
John?
a crazy
If you
person.
can't get into, it's
What a crazy.
It's my turn. I'm speaking.
You know that? You know that? Now that you said that, now I'm going to say you're a nasty person. I can say that too, because I love to say that. We call all the people we don't like, we call them nasty people. And it ended Crooked Hillary, and it ended your career. It's going to end your career again. We have what's called Hurricane Tulsi. She's going to help us. Hurricane Tulsi. She's a tremendous person
I'm not
too.
that afraid
You
of her
remember what happened the
anymore.
last time.
I'm not that.
You remember what happened the last time.
Look, I actually think that Tulsi Gabbard coming on board is a very significant development. It's not that Donald Trump needs to be coached about how to debate. He's a proven winner. He's a very strong debater. Where I do think she can be particularly helpful, though, is that she's studied Kamala Harris. She studied her record. She studied her debate style, if you can call it that. I think she's going to be a tremendous asset. By the way, she's not a Republican. She's an independent, former Democrat. And the idea, for anybody who didn't see this, that the Biden Harris administration began surveilling her, spying on her, that they placed her on a secret domestic terrorist watch list back in July when she simply criticized Kamala Harris, on a public show, is outrageous. That is, I don't know how you justify spying on and putting someone under surveillance who is a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve, who proudly served in combat in both Iraq and Kuwait, and who's spoken out against Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the war machine. This is a disgrace for our country. Somebody, the director of the TSA, really needs to be asked by the Republican Congress why Tulsi Gabbard, who served her country honorably, is being treated this way.
Yeah, that was pretty extraordinary, Roger. And I think he has, as you saw, I did a couple quick videos about it. Don't you think that there's also an inherent, so from a strategic point of view, by Trump, the Trump camp bringing her on for debate strategy and prep, that it has an inherent kind of psychological advantage in terms of getting under Kamala's skin?
Yeah, it definitely does that. Although I must tell you, I've been in American politics for 45 years. Rarely have I seen anybody with the natural talent that Tulsi Gabbard has. Obviously, I'd like her to become a Republican someday. I think that might ultimately happen. But I'm really glad that the Trump campaign has embraced her. I understand she's going to be doing some surrogate speaking as well as working with the president. In all honesty, he doesn't do the traditional debate preparation where they bring in somebody to play Kamala Harris, where they bring in a battery of aides to act like reporters and pepper him with questions. He doesn't operate like that. He's more of an instinctive player. He's more of a natural. But I do think she's going to add to that effort, and I do think it is designed to get in Kamala's head.
Roger, one more question, and this is kind of a little bit like, I'm thinking the Tulsi move was a little bit of gamesmanship, like you said, kind of get in her head. She remembers what happened the last time, they met on a debate stage. But there are other rumors now about RFK and him potentially endorsing Donald Trump, dropping out of the race. Obviously, Trump's a transactional guy. Do you think there'd be benefit for the campaign at this point in time? Seeing as how the polling, it looks like it has shifted where RFK may be bringing more votes away from Trump than originally thought when Biden was in the race. Is there a benefit to possibly, behind the scenes or something, working out a deal with RFK to be in charge of something in the administration? Maybe it's big pharma, maybe it's the deep state, special counsel type role, and having RFK support on the campaign trail from now until the election. You think that might be something that could help, or would it not really move the needle much?
Let me say two things. First of all, I saw these media reports, and I think I think what we're seeing is a head fake. I know Robert Kennedy. He's a very smart guy. I agree with him on a few things. I disagree with him with a lot of other things, but I don't think that he's going to get out of this race. I think this was a ploy for enormous publicity, and I think from that point of view, it has been successful. By the way, just technically, to promise someone a federal job in return for dropping out of a race for president or any federal office is actually technically a crime. I don't think anybody's ever been prosecuted for it, but it would be technically a crime, and I don't think Trump would ever do that. But in all honesty, look, I'd like to be wrong. Yes, I think it'd be beneficial if RFK got out of the race because, based on all the data I'm seeing, I do think he's pulling disproportionately from Trump, although it is on a state by state basis. So, for example, in New York or in New Jersey, just to use two examples, he would pull disproportionately from Biden rather than Trump. So you can't make an across the board statement. But look, I don't think this is going to happen. I think we're being subjected to a giant publicity stunt. I'd like to be wrong. Let's see tomorrow morning. Perhaps I'll be wrong.
Fantastic. Well, again, thank you for your time, Roger. It's always a pleasure, and we really appreciate you making time for us. And we're just pleased as punch to have you a part of the Mega Meme Coin team and have you mix it up with us, sharing your insights as the election season really heats up here. Any final thoughts?
Just pray for our country. Pray for the safety of President Donald Trump. Pray for the revival of our country. There's real power in prayer. I've had 6 miracles in my own life in a very short period, in a 2-year period of time. I've experienced it firsthand. Never underestimate the power of prayer, my friends. It is powerful. And if there's ever a time our country needed it, that moment is right now.
Thanks so much, Roger. Roger Stone, ladies and gentlemen, make sure everybody is following Roger Stone. Absolute legend. We're just honored to have him a part of the Mega Meme Coin team. And make sure to follow him on Rumble as well. He has a fantastic show called the Stone Zone. It runs Monday through Friday. And so just make sure to give all of that a follow. Thank you again, Roger. Really appreciate your time. What do you think, Sean?
I think what we just got was insight into the 2024 election that you're not going to find anywhere else. That's number one. I love hearing from both gentlemen, Wayne Allyn Root and Roger Stone. And it just shows you kind of, where this project is and what we're about. It's not just fun and games. We want to win, and we want to do it the right way. We want to win with integrity. And it's great to have guys like Wayne Allyn Root, Roger Stone, and so many other people coming in, being a part and giving their takes. But especially guys with the political instinct like Wayne and Roger. It's great to hear from guys like that. I'm super excited as this DNC continues on. We know there's massive amounts of protests right now on the streets of Chicago. This is going to be a problem for the Democrat Party. And again, no matter where you land on the Israel-Palestine conflict, this is division, because what you're seeing outside the DNC versus inside the DNC, it's all Democrats on the outside, it's all Democrats on the inside. These are people who can't seem to agree with one another. And Joe Biden had his own very fine people moment last night, except he did say that there were good people on both sides. And adding to that, if you caught it, I don't know if anybody did, but I'm sure many people did, while Joe Biden was giving his farewell address, if you want to call it that, and I agree with Roger, they delayed it all the way until the East Coast was sleeping so that he was in front of fewer eyeballs. They said all these great things about him during prime time, and they pushed him back to close to midnight, where he was introduced by Ashley Biden, who everybody knows is only his daughter because of the damn diary that had some really, really nasty admissions in it. Then he speaks, and they gave him what looked to be the State of the Union cocktail, because it was almost the exact same speech and the exact same tone as his State of the Union address. But you saw him every time they chanted "Thank you, Joe," he said "Thank you, Kamala," too. In other words, you don't get to run from accountability over why Joe Biden's approval rating fell. Remember, America started souring on Joe Biden after Afghanistan. They started souring on Joe Biden when inflation got out of control with the bare shelves Biden crisis. They didn't start souring on him because of his age. They started to really dump him, and he reached that point of no return June 27th, after people realized the emperor had no clothes. But America was souring on him because of his policy and how that negatively impacted us. And last night, as Joe Biden, made it very clear, no, just thank me. Thank Kamala, too. She's a part of this whole equation. So, I think that's something to consider as well as night 2 of the DNC is underway. I think Michelle Obama is slated to speak. let's pivot away from politics for just a minute. Let's go to Jackie, mother of Degens. Let's get some updates on the crypto market. Anything on her mind? Always great to get that perspective as well, and how the two worlds, politics and crypto, are colliding this week. Jackie, what's up?
It's just another week of all of this madness. Football season's about to start, so that's just going to add to my anxiety. I'm going to need a sedative before November. Basically,
now, is that college football or the NFL, Jackie? I have to butt in.
College, of course. Roll Tide forever, always.
There you go. You see, I'm an Alabama fan too because I'm a Jets fan, and the only quarterback that took us, to the Super Bowl and won was Joe Namath. He came from Alabama, so I have to do it. Roll Tide.
Yes, Broadway Joe. He's one of our most proudest exports there.
He's the only guy who drinks more than Kamala Harris.
Yeah, on that particular topic, I bartended for a very long time. She looks fucking drunk. I'm just saying. Like, she does. I had to spot that from a mile away. She seems, woo. I would, somebody asked on Twitter, they were like, what do you think she's drinking? And it definitely looks stronger than white wine. So that's just
tequila.
my general thought. Yeah, it's a liquor. It's probably vodka, but yeah. Somebody said she's working with a Russian agent, and then they put a Smirnoff bottle up next to it. So I thought that was funny. But as far as crypto is concerned, I really do feel like this market is kind of holding its breath right now. I think, as Trump pulled really, really well until they started all of this fake bullshit about how everybody's so excited to see her all of the sudden. Before that happened, the market was really, doing pretty well. And then now I just feel like everything is in this wait and see issue. And as far it's hard not to combine crypto with politics, so I'm just going to bring this up. But Trump got a standing ovation at Bitcoin conference for saying that he would fire Gary Gensler, and Kamala reportedly, according to certain Senate sources, plans on promoting him and giving him the job as treasurer. I don't know if that's true, but that has seemed likely. That seemed like his path this whole time. And if Biden stayed in office, that seemed like where his next job would be. So one party mentioned it clearly on their party's platform and what they were looking forward to. The Republicans clearly stated that they would protect the right to self-custody Bitcoin. The Dems released all of their platform policies yesterday, and there was a zero mention of crypto on it. The word crypto wasn't anywhere in it. Bitcoin, nothing. And I just think whatever this feigned BS of outreach is from her it's not real. I see this Harris for crypto or crypto for Harris or something. And Mark Cuban seems to be the one who keeps pushing it. But I just, it's not real. They've spent the last 4 years attacking it, and I don't see them doing anything different with their announcement that she supports, that she's just going to copy pasta the tax plan that Biden had originally proposed, where they also want to tax unrealized gains. So let me just let you know what that means. Whatever's in your wallet right now, even though you didn't cash out, it's not in your bank account, they want you to pay money on whatever that is, even though it's not real, it's not realized, you haven't sold it. And this is stocks, this is crypto, this is every asset class. They want you to pay an unrealized gain. And to be fair, I think it is there's a threshold for this. But still, how much wealth will leave the country in the event that this goes into effect? I know Nancy Pelosi is shitting her pants right now. So I just think I think once we start seeing some real numbers, I think once we see some real debate, the actual one, not like the best one that you're ever going to find on social media, but when we start seeing the actual debates, I think all of this is going to get exposed, and we're finally going to get a real look at what this is. But this feels like the preseason crap that's going on. You can't tell if your quarterback's good. They won't play him. You can't tell if your receivers or your line really has it together, and you're not going to be able to tell until you finally get on the field and all your starters are out and everybody's playing. So it just feels like the preseason whatever right now, but it is unfortunately, I think, affecting the crypto market. But regardless, it's not a loss if you sell. If you just hold it, you can just wait. So I do expect a major rebound here as we get a little clarity going forward. But otherwise, yeah, that's about it. And let me see. I have some notes that I wrote. So, and my last comment is whenever they ask people about issues, they're like, how do you feel about the economy? How do you feel about crypto? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? Trump wins in every single category, but then they're showing this poll where like head to head, the two of them, he's behind her until today. And then when her copy pasta tax plan came out, it flipped Polymarket and he's back ahead of her. So, just hodl. It's hold on for dear life for that reason. But if you don't like the roller coaster, you got to get off.
Yeah, I saw you mixing it up with a couple of people on X a couple of days ago. People screaming, and you're like, bro, what are you talking about? You don't mess with her on X. She's not fucking around. Okay?
It was a literal Dev do something. And I'm like, this is not a pump fun shitter. Like, what do you mean? We've been doing things. But yeah, and we are so excited. Stephen and I are talking and planning the next debate. We cannot wait. It will be on video. I think I can say we can talk about this now, right, Stephen? Yeah, it will be an actual live stream. So that was the number one request that we got of I want to see this live. I want to see faces. So we are going to make that happen. And we are very, very excited to do that.
That's going to be so much fun. I apologize in advance to everybody who does have to see my face. But it should be fun anyway. Just close your eyes. Just close your eyes.
You are beautiful. You're beautiful. Yeah, I can't do the voice, but you're beautiful.
That's going to be a good time. What were you saying, Esty?
Oh, same here. When I make the voices and I get into the Kamala, like, I turn into her. So I apologize in advance to everyone that's going to be incredibly uncomfortable. But she reminds me of someone that's like trying to get out of like, when like Venom's trying to get out of the mask and he's trying to get like out of that's when she does that, she contorts her face in all these ways. So I apologize to all of you that have to tolerate that. But, it's for the good of the country.
Also, I agree with that. Actually, my wife and I were talking about what we were watching Kamala's face last night. And my wife goes, she holds her face in such a weird way. Like it's always like back. Like she's disgusted by something. By the way, multiple arrests are being made right now. It looks like outside the DNC. So just keep an eye on that.
I love when they eat each other. But, I had actually called my dentist earlier. And after watching that clip from the DNC when she surprised everyone on stage with her shit brown suit, I don't understand who dresses her. And like, it's almost like they pick the ugliest stuff on purpose. But she comes out in this shit brown blazer. And the smile is like, it's to the point where I'm uncomfortable with the amount of teeth I have to look at the same time. And all 73 of her teeth are out. So I asked my dentist, I said, remember that ridiculous concoction that you put into my mouth to try to get all the way to the top back of the tooth? And my mouth was really wide open. And he's like, yeah, why? And I'm like, I need that so I can make a video of Kamala Harris.
I noticed that last night too. I said, holy crap, you could see every tooth.
Yeah, no,
there's something wrong with this woman. And I'm going to share this just so we could all have a laugh. Tim Walz did it again. He's out there flailing on stage. I don't know what's wrong with this guy. I've never seen anything like it. This guy, I call him Happy Feet because this guy, he's kicking, he's flailing, he's throwing his hands. What the hell is this guy's deal? I don't get it.
He's a gay little joyful warrior. Leave Timmy Tampon alone.
Campon. I love it. That's so funny. All right, let's go blockchain basement. We got blockchain basement in here. I know he's excited. Let's go. Let's see. Is this Drew? We got Drew here?
My ladies and gentlemen.
All right, what's up?
Shout out to you guys, and hello, Mega Meme Coin family. I got a lot to tell you guys here. I got kind of my teeth into a bone that I just can't let go of. And it's in relevance to these protests that are happening outside of the DNC convention right now. This is information I released on the Black site for the blockchain basement, but This is dangerous info. So everyone in this space, just get ready to be put on a list. Fair warning for listening to me tell you what I'm about to say. So there's a call from Shelley Moore Capito and Pete Ricketts talking about the Inflation Reduction Act and the funding within the act. About $2 billion worth of funding, hundreds of millions of dollars of that is actually going directly to anti-American groups. Now, the interesting thing about this, these anti-American groups, namely, I got names here, Climate Justice Alliance, which is directly connected to the LCSC, with a director, Eric Mann, with 2 N's, and also within that, Eric Mann directly connected to Susan Rosenberg of 1,000 Currents, who has direct ties to the BLM founders, as well as Bill Ayers. So these 3 people, extreme leftists that were kind of the funding guts of this big upswing in the BLM Summer of Love riots that we all saw in the last season of civil unrest, have received our tax dollars once again to build out this Palestinian chaos army that we're seeing ferment outside the DNC. You're damn right you're going to see it come out of the RNC as well. But our own money is being used against us actively. And in my assertion, they're preparing for a Trump victory to utilize these groups to sow chaos. And it is just salt in the wound for every American that's out there doing the right thing, paying your taxes, trying to do the right stuff. As high as the taxes are nowadays, it is painful as hell. And then you guys are mentioning some pretty important stuff. The Kamala Harris proposed unrealized gains tax. Anyone that's in crypto is out of their mind if they're voting for the left at this point. Like, I can't even imagine holding crypto in my wallet and even conceiving or potentially even thinking about voting for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden at this point. It's absolutely insane. And I'm coming to you guys with the names. This is exactly how it started up. It goes Climate Justice Alliance to the LCSC with Director Eric Mann, and then down to Chelsea Bowden. Chelsea directly connected to none other than George Soros and his funding campaigns. This is all just a gargantuan consortium that is restarting the next leg of their civil unrest. And it's happening with our tax dollars. It's insane to see it happening. I know that we're crushing it at the polls. And what Wayne Allen Root was saying is very, very important. Trump needs to highlight how life was when he was in office, because they're using this Inflation Reduction Act, the labeling of it. It's exactly opposite of what it's going to accomplish, first of all. But they're trying to get ahead of his ability to use that conversation in front of the American public as a good reminder. And I don't think that they're going to be able to stop him from reminding people about how amazing the economy was. You guys brought up some really good points at the beginning of this space when you're talking about the hiring activity during the Trump presidency. I was a headhunter. I'd been a headhunter for 10 years. During the Trump presidency, there were absolute premiums on people with experience that were willing to work, that had experience doing the work. People were getting paid hand over fist to go and do specific jobs. Now we have people just looking for anything. The economy's in the absolute shitter. They misrepresented 1 million jobs on the jobs report. That is the jobs report that the Federal Reserve has been utilizing to try to act like they know what's going on in the economy and to try to time out these Federal Reserve rate cuts. They are completely flying in the blind. They're flying off of fake data. And to compound it, city centers, large commercial real estate buildings are selling for 10 cents on the dollar right now. And adjusted interest rates, these banks are sitting on a knife's edge. So the Federal Reserve is stuck in a hard place right now. And on the crypto side, I very much feel like this is the average season for crypto. We are only 120 days after the Bitcoin halving. Usually we don't have a really good time in altcoins or even meme coins until we reach about a 230-day time frame after the halving, meaning that in the middle of October is when we see things really start to run. And it is incredible that it's timed up with the election. Somehow Satoshi Nakamoto set it up just right in line. 2008, it falls under each different presidential election. In November is 230 days after that Bitcoin halving. So It's a beautiful design, and really right now on the crypto prices, I'm not worried at all. I'm stacking more MAGA token. I'm not interested in literally any other meme token. The Solana pump and dump pump.fund chaos has been absolutely brutal to the average retail investor. Blood and guts all over the place. I really recommend against going in there and getting sniped by these Solana meme coin sniping bots right now, because they are laying waste to the average person that's seeing the number go up. They want to have involvement. They see 10,000% up, and then they wake up the next day. Guess what? 9,000% or 99% down. They're getting wrecked out there. So a huge shout out to you guys for leading a project that isn't destroying people, that are just wanting to have some fun and to represent their political beliefs in a meme token way. It's really refreshing that you guys have, it's been a year now, and if you do keep it up and you keep the momentum, especially after this election, it's hard to say how high this token will go. Honestly, it really is. Doge accomplished absolutely insane things. Now you have Doginals, and shout out to all of them here in the chat. I mean, you see the ecosystem that's built out from these meme coins. If they really hold on, it can get massive. But I really wanted to get that info to Roger Stone and Wayne Allen Root. I was kind of sad I wasn't able to butt in, because I need them to get this info. I'm assuming Trump has really intelligent people around him that are highlighting all of this funding and basically this building out of an anti-American army with our own tax dollars right as the election's right around the corner. But this mirrors exactly how BLM just popped up out of nowhere with all this millions of dollars of funding, and was able to be flown from city to city, pallets of bricks left for them on the sides of the roads, U-Hauls moving materials around, and logistics. That stuff doesn't happen by accident. It's a cohesive, concerted effort. And so, we're in for one. Either way this election goes, we're in for one. And I woke up after I found all this information released on the Black site. My tweet this morning, F it. Let Kamala steal this election, and let her try and take away the weapons and the finances of 80 million already pissed off Americans. See how far they get, because there's still extreme power in we the people. And I've been sitting on the outside being called, they call white American males the most dangerous thing to American democracy over the course of the last 10 years. I don't even have a speeding ticket. I have 4 kids. All I try to do is do right by my neighbors, go to farmers markets, all this stuff. But to be called those things has lit a fire in my heart. And I know for a 100% fact, it's lit the fire in at least 20 million other American males in this country that are feeling just the same way as I am. So I'm coming to you guys with the facts. I found them all. We released them all on the Black site. And this election is going to be absolutely nuts. I still feel like Trump is leading on the grassroots level by a long shot, but there is a lot of obscurity behind closed doors still, and we have to keep cognizant of that. This thing is not in the books, and we got a hell of a fight ahead of us. I said it on a few spaces back, we needed a 5X. I feel like we need a 20X right now, because if we don't make this heinously obvious that the American people want Trump back and they want a good economy back, they're not only going to rug the election, they're going to rug our buying power. They're going to rug this bull market. They're going to rug everything that they can, man. So we have to fight with everything in us. I know it's been a long train, and we have 2-3 months left to go. You got to dig deep. You got to look inward and realize how important this election really, really is.
Thanks so much, Drew. I always appreciate you mixing it up with us tonight, and as well as your analytics and your insights in that regard, because we've been indulging so much on the political side of it, we didn't really get a chance to get to too much of that. So thank you for your astute observations on that as well, and thank you for the acknowledgement of a project like Mega Meme Coin in terms of the longevity of it and what that typically means, and the probability of a bullish picture that is really surrounding that going forward, now that we've survived over a year now and are still trading at a very viable market cap and still consistently doing all the things that we do. we continue to make these moves behind the scenes. Some of you have been sleuths have been piecing together an idea, at least, of what we've been up to on the blockchain. And I think those results will continue to speak for themselves. Most importantly, it's really phenomenal what we've built here, guys. Bringing the sorts of quality individuals together, we were really building a true community in a really fantastic way that's really hard to put a value on, honestly. And just coming together week after week, where we're all on the same page, not only to where we would like to see this project go and where we'd like to see crypto go, but we're all on the same page generally on where we want this country to go. That's a very special thing. It's a very magnificent thing. Thus, Polyfire, thus Politify. I saw some other pretty high-profile trader make a post, I believe, yesterday about Mega Meme Coin. He made some pretty interesting observations. And I do think that there's a pretty good probability that going into next year, you're going to see the overwhelming majority of the Polyfi market go to zero. And the only the strong, I think there's a big silver lining to this, though, because only the strong will survive, and consequently, all of that previous capital is going to concentrate into the strongest projects. Most importantly, the strongest project, which is Mega Meme Coin. And there's very few projects in this space that have had not only the wherewithal to weather all these market storms and go the distance, but a project that has the resources like ours to go the distance and to keep growing this thing out into a legacy brand. I mean, the things that we're doing are unprecedented. We are embarking on the second unofficial presidential debate in a couple weeks here, and I believe that we will likely trounce the previous numbers, which already were impressive. And we just really have a real multifaceted, unprecedented approach to this meme coin world that's never been seen before. And there's nothing that can replace or compete with that sort of groundwork and commitment and consistency that's lasted for over a year now, that I believe, anyway, is going to position Mega Meme Coin for the billions and billions, and to be a household brand in cryptocurrency that's going to really stand the test of time. So yeah, that's what I got to say about that. Anyway, I love Drew's vibe, and it was so cool connecting with the Blockchain Basement guys in person and in Nashville, because it's like, yeah, these guys get it. These guys get it now.
Bro, I think we're invading the villages down in Florida next, so we'll stay tuned. We'll see how that goes.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh yes!
Oh yes! Love that. That's great. That's going to go very well. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Hey, so we have I think this is a new speaker in our spaces here. Somebody by the name of I don't care anymore, but the @ is SamNor1, and I saw this person with their hand up a few times. So let's just go to I don't care real quick. Welcome to the stage. What's on your mind?
Yeah, thank you. I just had a quick question. I was like, obviously the leftist Communist Party kind of just want to regulate crypto. So my question was, how is crypto under President Trump's presidency in regards of profit margins and stuff?
What do you mean by what is it regards to profit margins? Like
Well, I know, like,
can you elaborate?
I know that crypto's fairly like a new currency compared to like the dollar and gold and silver and different things. And so the government's trying to figure out ways to regulate it, to kind of monitor it, to make kind of money off of it. And so like my question was, how was crypto doing? Because I'm fairly new to crypto and everything, but so my question was, how is crypto doing like during the Trump years in terms of everybody?
How was it? Like, how was it
Yeah,
performing? Like, how were people
yeah,
like price
yep,
action, things like
yep,
that?
yep.
So we can go. We have Jackie and Drew. I'm sure they'll know that. But I want to first, before we go into just general price action, is, you know, the current administration is very hostile to it. So if this environment continues, I mean, think of it this way: if you plant a garden and it stays out in the bald hot sun with no water for long enough, the whole thing's going to be dead, right? So the environment that the industry is being placed in right now isn't just, it's not just not conducive for growth, it is very conducive for death. As you mentioned, they're going to regulate it. When the government does that, it essentially strangles the industry of any sort of organic growth, and it's really a mess. Under Trump, I don't believe there was any of that. Well, there were questions about it, but there wasn't this much hostility towards it, if I remember correctly. Price action right now, I mean, it is increased in price, but that's a factor of time as well. But from a policy standpoint, the way a Trump administration would treat the crypto space and the way a Harris administration would treat a crypto space or the crypto space are two totally different animals. So, I think we can look at how both administrations have treated the space in general, instead of just comparing what the price was, because the price of gold was cheaper under Trump too, and it has increased. But is that a good thing, or is that a factor of inflation? Like, there's no, I don't know if there's necessarily an answer in terms of what the price action was. I think Bitcoin hit like what, $4,000 right when the COVID pandemic started, but then it ripped shortly after that. So, that's, I think there's two questions there, but I think that if it makes sense, the administration now, the incumbent administration, the Democrat administration, will be very hostile to the space, and the Trump administration, especially if an RFK can give his input, it will be very constructive to the space. Not, no rules or anything, but Donald Trump is an America First guy, and he wants the talent that's in that space to be here, to be starting jobs here, so that the talent can remain in the United States, so that we could be on the cutting edge of this industry, and this technology is going to play a role in the future. I think that makes sense. But Jackie or Drew, do you want to take a stab at, maybe the original question about the price action?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we did see Bitcoin's all-time highs, I think at least twice within Trump's cycle, and it went up around 20, it got up around 21 or 26 maybe in 2017, and then it ripped all the way up to 69,000 ultimately in 2021, right after he left office. But that had, been building for quite a while. His administration at the time didn't really do anything. It's like they almost kind of didn't know what to think of it. But more importantly, what they didn't do was they didn't attack it, and they didn't stifle it, and they didn't file Wells notices and let an SEC chairman just run rampant and make crypto his own personal enemy. So I do think that a lot can be said for the fact that they just didn't do anything at all originally, as opposed to what the last 4 years has been for crypto, which is it's just had an enormous target on its back. And the SEC, acting under its own volition, has actually ruined some legitimate projects. One called Library had a utility to put like books on the blockchain, and they were completely destroyed by the SEC going after them and attacking them. So I think what Trump will not want to do is to stifle legitimate business with enterprise that they're going to build in America. They're going to have their tech in America, and they're going to put us on the forefront of this technology. I also think that his choice of JD Vance is a signal that he's moving forward in that direction, as JD Vance is also in with Silicon Valley. He's big in tech. He's pro crypto. He himself personally holds crypto. So I think all of these things are, public knowledge. And in the last 4 years, Trump has launched his own NFT campaign, like several collections. Melania has launched them, and supposedly Barron's even.
Yeah, I'm holding that mugshot NFT still. I wonder how much that mugshot NFT is going to be. And like, these two administrations, the results of this election are going to have vastly different outcomes for our bags. I can clearly state it that way. And the reason why, Jackie highlighted this, when Trump was in office, he didn't really know what to think of Bitcoin other than it competed with the US dollar. And Trump is an American maxi. He's looking at this tech that is just ripping. He saw the upside, but he wanted dominance for the US dollar. He needed to retain power within the US dollar, because when we did have that COVID snap crash, our GDP hit levels it hadn't seen since the Civil War of 1861 in America. So at that time, you saw an emergency injection of liquidity. Near 40-50% of all dollars ever created were put into circulation to put the Band-Aid over the bullet wound of our economy that was going to come to a halt at the time of the economic lockdowns. And in the light of that, we did see Bitcoin accomplish 2 all-time highs, but I do think that the real all-time high for Bitcoin in the realm of inflation was actually the first peak, somewhere around $64,000, because at that point, your buying power was stronger. Now, to accomplish a true buying power all-time high right now for Bitcoin, you actually have to breach over $80,000 in the current inflationary market. So that's something to keep in context. Yes, the number has gone up beyond what it was, but the buying power has not. And in that, we talked earlier about RFK, potentially reaching out to the Trump camp. And I did a deep dive on the Blockchain Basement about this. Trump spoke very bullishly and has some extremely exciting ideas about how he can utilize Bitcoin to back the US dollar, to shore up the US dollar, and to actually get us on a track of fixing the deficit. We reached $35 trillion in deficit. We are on pace to reach $50 trillion in deficit by 2035 at current rate. But RFK had an even bigger plan. He wanted to buy 4 million Bitcoin and back the US dollar with 4 million Bitcoin. If RFK has anything to do with the Trump camp, that idea is going to come across Trump's desk. He's going to give Trump a lot of really good ideas, because RFK, he knows a lot about the background and the use case of Bitcoin, and primarily he highlighted at Bitcoin Nashville how it can be used to harden our infrastructure. We are going into essentially the third world championship against China and Russia. It's clear as day. It's coming. We're there. And the Pentagon, Department of Defense, earlier this, or I think it was over the last 2 years, they released the concept, or they acknowledged the concept of proof of power through a kind of a write-up from named Soft War from Jason Lowry, and it highlights how Bitcoin can actually be used as a proven data block to secure American information systems and data infrastructure. On top of that, I think we're going to see a gold rush of data centers when Trump is put into the seat, and that would not only spur an immense amount of construction and tech jobs and the build out of that infrastructure, almost like the New Deal of our previous past in America, but it'll also put us ahead of China in the digital arms race. And I think that Trump is going to have a very, very strong focus on outpacing China's data movement capabilities. Data is the new oil. It seems that Trump has the right people on his shoulder telling him where this country needs to move to remain competitive. And with RFK at anywhere near his cabinet, helping him out with those decisions and being a part of that conversation, this is the Bitcoin super cycle. If we get those people into office with the ideas that they have in this given time, it is the super cycle. Now, on the flip side, As you said, Democrats in Operation Choke Point 2.0 have been in full swing. They want to shut down our on-ramps and off-ramps of fiat to crypto. They can't shut down crypto in and of itself. It's too decentralized. But what they can do is shut off your off and on-ramp so that you can't exit and you can't leave once you're in. And this is a very, very dangerous precedent, because the whole power of Bitcoin, and the only reason why it's been able to make it this far in opposition to fiat currencies and governments across the world for, the last 10 years plus, even more than that. I mean, what are we talking? Like, since 2008, is because it's decentralized and people can self-custody it. And it has a system called a randomizer within it that is one of the most unbreakable data sets on the planet. That's the only reason why this thing hasn't been arbitraged out of existence. So if we do see a Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, freak of nature presidency happen, they are going to implement these massive taxes. They are going to outlaw self-custody of your crypto. And that is where the literal chance of freedom that we're looking in the face right now will go away into a vanish of dust. This is a very, very serious moment for humanity as a whole. They don't understand, like, we have this chance. Bitcoin's gotten this far. The government understands Bitcoin is a contender. And now we see Trump trying to leverage it, made in America, mine all the Bitcoin that you can in America, make us the world dominant country when it comes to Bitcoin holding, Bitcoin utilization, and crypto utilization to harden our energy and infrastructure grids. Or we can get a Kamala Harris hyena situation where she outlaws your self-custody rights, and they tax the living hell out of not only the retail but also the mining organizations, and consolidate it down to where basically only oil companies will be incentivized to capture methane flares to stop the climate emissions with their Bitcoin mining. And that is where the consolidation of power makes it all the way up to the elites once again. This is a very, very serious subject. It's a reasonable question for someone on the outside looking in that's new to crypto. This is a very, very good question. And I know I gave a very long-winded answer, but I gave you a very concise answer that I have accumulated over, 6-7 years of obsessive research, paying attention to what's happening to this field on a daily basis at a very deep level. And the concept of proof of power within Bitcoin is something that nation states are going to fight over for the next 50 years. So this next 2 months will make the difference on if America is a contender in that or not. So it's a big deal. And honestly, it's a good question, man. So shout out to you for bringing that up. And
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely, bro.
That's why I love these. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Jackie. And thank you to I Don't Care Anymore. Sam Noor at Sam_Noor, KNORR1. Appreciate the question, and obviously another great reason why I love these spaces. We get these information, these pieces of information can be filtered out to everybody to generate a better understanding of the space. So it's great. Shibo and Books are here from Bark Meta. Let's start with Shibo. What's going on, brother?
Yo, what's going on, family? Yo, a lot of good things were said today. One thing, we were talking about in Spaces a little bit earlier today, and I kind of felt the same vibe in here, is that retail is sick of these empty pumped out funds. I would like to call it fatigue. Like, it's tiring, right? 23,000 tokens are getting printed daily, and by the end of the day, only 0.12% of them remain above 60K market cap. And we were talking in Spaces, and we were saying, okay, well, what was last bull market? What was the market cap of Shiba Inu? It was like 44 billion. What was the market cap of Dogecoin? It was like 88 billion. Now, if this bull market is going to be bigger than the last one, the ceiling for meme coins is also going to rise. And having a strong ticker like Trump and a strong team, right? Not just some random pump fund dev that clicked a couple buttons, made his money after the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then left the project. I mean, this is the perfect project to get into. And over the next 2 months, as this election narrative really starts picking up, we should all be working double time, working for the bags and keeping up with the team members, guys. As holders, we should be, you guys set a really good example of leaders leading from the front of the pack, not at the back of the pack yelling at us what to do. So I really appreciate the way you guys hustle for our bags. And to everyone who's listening, especially the Doginal Dog community, let's hustle for our bags with this Trump ticker, because it's time. The next 3 months, double down time, ladies and gentlemen. I think we have a really good 3 months ahead of us. I think a lot of our community, I don't care. A lot of our community is saying, if Kamala wins, shit, we might be jumping the fence south. Shit. So brother, we need Trump in off. There is no if Kamala wins. We have to manifest this W for Trump. He's a hero. And Steven, Sean, Jack, you guys do a great job every week. I'm just proud to be a part of this community, and I'm looking forward to the next couple months with you guys, for real.
Appreciate it, Shiba. Thank you, pal. Really, really appreciate it. It's super motivating to hear folks that are, come in and become a part of this community after so long. So, after we've been around for a year now, we're hanging in, we're staying strong, and we got election season coming up. I mean, we've been through a Super Tuesday wave. We've been through the conviction wave. We got sentencing September 18th potentially. And then it's election season, guys, and this is just gonna be a wild ride. It's gonna be amazing, as Jackie said. If you're not ready for the roller coaster, get off. If not, buckle up, right? So, really excited. We got books from Bark Meta. He's got the new PFP up. I see something's going on with this new PFP.
Yo,
what's going
up,
on,
guys? This is just it's something we've been working on for a minute. I don't know if it's going to be a new PFP though. It's just something we're having fun with right now. I appreciate you guys, man, and I agree with everything that was said here. I don't know about hopping the border to go south, Shibo. I don't think we're gonna have.
Hey, it was a joke,
Yeah,
book. It was a
I don't
joke.
think we're gonna have to do that. I think we're gonna be all right. There's a lot of stuff I want to say, but I don't want to sound crazy. I hope that there is an election, fam. I really hope that there is.
I'm buying a
an
tank,
election.
bro.
What is it?
I'm buying a tank. That's what
I'm rolling with him, bro.
buying
I'm rolling with him. I ain't
buying a
gonna lie.
Tesla truck like that Chechnyan president. He mounted a fucking gun on top of the Tesla truck. We might need to do that, fellas.
Very bullish. Very bullish.
We might need to do the same fucking thing. I don't know, guys. I really hope there is an election. I hope it's fair, because this is like the last bit of hope that I've got left in me. We need this guy to win, guys. So we'll see how it goes.
I think he's going to win. I think we have every right to be skeptical, and I think we take that skepticism, we turn that into motivation to be too big to rig. Because as many of us have mentioned on the space tonight, the country simply cannot afford the alternative, right? They can't afford. We can't afford it. The country can't afford it. It's not gonna work out. We've been rolling for almost 2 hours. Another great Tuesday. The DNC is still rocking. Protests are getting crazy. I got a few friends on the ground there, so keep looking, keep watching the news, keep watching X. X is ahead of the news now, so it's always cool to keep it locked in this platform. I love this platform. It's come a long way. It's certainly a lot better than it was 4 years ago, if you guys remember that nightmare. So let's start closing it up. Let's go to Esty. Closing thoughts for you or your alter ego. All good, whatever you prefer to do. But another Tuesday night, and another debate's been announced.
Yeah, listen, I'm just, real talk for a second. I hear everyone's skepticism, and I myself hear myself saying that, I definitely feel tricks up their sleeve. I love that, the people support what we're doing. I'm glad that people see it past the comedic levity that it has, but I truly, truly believe in manifestation, and the more positive we are, and the more hopeful we are, and if we see it, you just keep imagining Trump's hand like on that Bible, and the liberals crying. That's what I see. You know what I see, guys? I see a bunch of people on their knees, pulling out their blue hair, going absolutely apeshit, going onto X with their frustrations, and me goading the fuck out of them. Sean doing the exact same thing. All of us just making them all get so triggered to the point where all the mental asylums will have to get reopened, because by then it's just going to have to be, it's out of control. So you got to manifest things like that. And I'll be honest with you, we all watched a miracle just because the media cycle decided to run like Will Smith getting slapped by or I should say Will Smith's slap, it ran the media cycle longer than Trump's assassination attempted. And that miracle is something that we all felt the next day. Like, we were all saddened and scared, but you know what I felt? I felt like how we all felt on September 12th. That feeling of unity and that feeling of like, oh my God, that patriotism. And we need to get that energy like screaming back here. At the end of the day, like, these morons are like pigeons that just shit on the chessboard and pretend like they won anyway, even though they have no idea what they're doing. And we need to not give in to their narcissism. We need to never ever give in to their narcissism. So if my closing thoughts, take away any message, is that stay completely hopeful. Trump is going to win. It is not, I think he's going to win. I don't know. Things are looking this. He better win or else. I know that that's been the atmosphere for everybody for a long time, because it's there is a lot at stake here. But I truly believe in the power of God, in whatever religion that you look into. I look to Hashem, and everything at the end of the day is in his hands. And this man is protected. I've seen the hand of God over him. You all have many times. I don't know anyone that should be even standing morally after what they've done to him, to his family. And we all know he doesn't need this, and he doesn't give up. He fights, and we have to have that resilience behind each and every one of us, depending on what our purpose is. So if my purpose is to laugh like a hyena on spaces like this to get people to wake up and to join the movement, then that's my freaking, that's my thing, and I'm going to run with it no matter what. And everything in life is pushing us towards this space to be together, or towards everything that's happening. So I'm very much like a believer in nothing happens by accident. I didn't find this community by accident. Even everything that's happening for me personally now, it's all part of a bigger picture. So in the grand scheme of things, we all have to be just like diehard patriots, money aside, crypto aside, and the hope is going to really land it for this country. Then that's what I think we all need to completely hold on to.
I'm actually voting for SD for president. Like,
can you imagine? I just replaced her last minute, and then you guys all get fucking confused. Like, what do we do now? We like her.
Oh man, that is good stuff. No, it's really good. It's a great message, and you're right. And I consume this stuff daily. I think you were mentioning at the beginning of the space. Sometimes it's hard because you're watching Harris. I'm watching Trump. Well, I'm watching everybody. You're watching everybody, but for the bits that we do,
yeah,
and all that, and it's a lot of this news is not great news, and it's hard sometimes when you're just watching this to have that hope, but it's easy though to get it, because you're sitting there going, look at how crazy. We know the power of the mainstream media, but I truly believe in the power of rational, sane beings. I obviously believe in that. What happened to Trump on July 13th was divine intervention, and I think God saved him for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't know if that reason is to win the election, but I do know that he saved him for a reason, and that would seem to be a pretty obvious one there. So you know what? We work our asses off from now till November 5th, and then when we win, we work our asses off till January 20th, and then when he's inaugurated, we work our asses off, and we just keep building on it. That's how movements survive, and that's how they grow. And I see this movement going to those places.
Amen, brother.
Appreciate you, and looking forward to our next debate. Jackie, closing thoughts tonight. What's going on?
Another successful Trump Tuesday. I want to thank everybody who came and spoke. Obviously, our new lovely addition, Esty, to the main powerhouse of people that we see here every week. They said that today only 5% of the crypto space is women. So, we need more men, guys. We don't have enough men in this space. But proud to be a unicorn along with SD as well. So since we have a 50-50 panel up here, which is so nice. I'm really digging that. As always, protect your seed phrase. Never give that out. Protect your wallet. I don't know if you raw dog the links. We talk about this. If you just click any link that anybody sends you, you might wind up losing your crypto. So it would be a good idea for you to transfer it off, maybe into a cold storage wallet, or somewhere that the device that you use regularly is not exposing your bag to the scammers, because scammers are the crackheads of crypto. They don't wake up and say, I'm too tired to smoke crack. They get out and go get that bag. So the scammers do the same thing. Okay, if they worked hard, if they worked just as hard at actually doing something positive, the world would be a better place. But instead, they wake up and work really hard to steal your shit. So just be very aware of that. Do not fall victim to anything like that. If you have any questions, never FOMO, never freak out, never just ape into something at the last minute. You can always join the Telegram. There's always somebody in there day in and day out to answer your questions. Other than that, we will see you guys next week. And we are so looking forward to letting you guys know the exact day and time, link, and location for you to share of the first ever live video MAGA meme coin Trump versus Kamala debate. Can't wait.
And I think that is before. Well, I have intel as to when it might be, but I'm thinking if it is before his sentencing, because the original debate is before his sentencing, and Donald Trump is going to have to be in his outlaw apparel. It means the "Let's Go Brandon" cowboy hat is coming out. So Stephen's not going to be the only one with a cool hat on that night. Let's roll over to Stephen to take us home. Stephen Steele, the real deal, the realest deal. Nobody's ever seen a deal so real. You know, I don't know deals. Deals are great. We're fantastic. Stephen, take us home.
No one's ever seen a deal so real, and the Trump voice is peak. That just made my whole week right there. Anyway, guys, I gotta stop thinking about that because I won't be able to stop laughing. Many of you have been asking me, is the tattoo real? Is the MAGA meme coin tattoo real? That I posted a video of a few days ago, and I'm here to tell you, literally right now, I am looking at the exact same tattoo on my arm that you saw in that video. So that's what I have to say about that. So anyway, what a phenomenal week. What a dream team lineup. Roger Stone, Wayne Allen Root, Sean Farash, Esty, Jackie Dutton. Jackie pointing out that it is estimated that only 5% of the crypto space is comprised of females. So here at Mega Meme Coin, we not only have equal representation, we have a huge overrepresentation going on here of women. So we are actually
diversity is our strength.
Diversity is our strength.
I'm just kidding.
Excuse me, that's my policy.
It is.
No. You see, that's what I'm talking about. He always comes out and just steals everything, and then tells me that you stole the no tax on tips. You know, I'm rolling with it. You stole that from me. All right.
Exactly. Diverse.
What a nasty person.
Diversity. Go ahead.
You got to give me a few more. I mean, Horror Island was a good one. You gotta spice it up a little bit, Sean. I allow it. Okay, this is the one time in my life I will tell a man, roast me to the gates of hell. It's okay. I allow it. I welcome it. You can call me. We know I'm nasty. You have to get spicier with it. You gotta.
We need more spice. All right, I'm gonna have to. We'll have to cook
Horror
up a
Island
batch
was so good. You know how many comments I got on that?
Tacos.
You know how many comments I got? I took that snippet and I put it on my Instagram, my YouTube. They went ballistic. They're like, real estate on Horror Island. Please make merch with that line. And I was like, okay. And like I said, I'm like that. Sean has to spice it up. It has to be more. Nasty's great.
We need spice.
Yeah, we need just a little. Just a little Cajun. Nothing too spicy. Tampon can't handle it. Just a little. Black pepper. Just a little.
We got it. That sounds good. Well, we'll dial up the spice then in that case.
If you guys want to see the spice factor, how hot we get. It's more than hot ones. It's more do the hot ones. Do the Trump hot ones thing, please.
It's gonna be so hot. It's hot. We're gonna have the hottest. It's hot ones. You look at it. It's incredible.
So if you guys want to see his upgraded insults, please join us on that space where we go live. Those are the ones we put, at least me, I put the most work into those, and they're the most fun. So I can't wait. I really can't.
I don't know if anything else to follow after you guys, but I will say this. I will leave it at this. So while the team's doing what we do, and while the big moves are being made, and while we're waiting for market conditions to improve, because typically the meme coin space in August every year it's pretty tough. So while that's happening, let's really just come together around this this project, which I think is honestly the most magnificent project in the meme coin space. And I think we're blessed here with a really unreal and special opportunity in this moment in time. And each and every one of us that are gathering here right now. So I've been really off the chain today about making a lot of new memes with the iconic logo. So with my marketing background, I think we should just really hammer this logo everywhere, make it as synonymous and recognizable as the Dogecoin logo, the Shiba Inu logo, and it's a phenomenal logo. And I'm just, can you say it's a phenomenal logo, Sean, in Trump voice?
It is I have to tell you this, it's a phenomenal logo. That much I can tell you. It's a beautiful logo. It looks just like me. And when it looks like me, you understand it's phenomenal. That's the only thing that would make Mount Rushmore better is if we put my face on it. And it would be beautiful. I can tell you that. It would be beautiful. And we'll make it in color. We'll put it up there in color.
Perfect. So let's just go bonkers. Let's go wild with it. If you want me to send you all the animated logo promo memes for Mega Meme Coin, just DM me. I'll just like unload them all to you like automatic weapon style, or they're in the TG as well. But let's really come together. Let's really rival around this because what we've built here is something unprecedented, a lot to be proud of. So let's just continue to spread the word and bring more people into the fold. And I'm very excited about what the future's come. And I'm even more excited for the week to go by so I can be with all of you fine folks in another 7. How about that? Well, that's all I got. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I want to give a big shout out to the Mark Baddock squad and that whole community. Thanks for always showing up and showing out. Really loyal folks, really, really great community there. Also Blockchain Basement, of course, and Drew for representing. We love the Blockchain Basement and all of my teammates as well. But unless you have anything else to add on it, Sean, that's all I got, man.
Well, I think that's it for the night. Really excited again to come back here in another 7 days. It has been a wild ride. DNC seems to be getting wilder and wilder by the minute, especially outside. I think Michelle Obama is the headliner tonight. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. Excited for the next debate. Excited for another Trump Tuesday on in 7 days from now. Till then, everybody, buckle up. And we got to, as Drew from the Blockchain Basement says, 5 exit from here, 10 exit from here, 20 exit from here in terms of our work. Have hope, have faith, and let's go win.
Yeah, we're definitely going to win because the DNC had a gender-neutral Muslim prayer, room, and apparently the rugs didn't get a lot of use. And you just know that a white girl with like a keffiyeh, set that up. So we're gonna win. These people are hopeless. It's insane.
That's it. Well, onward to victory. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night,
and we'll catch you back here next Tuesday.